If you don't prepare yourself, that relationship will become meaningless to you. And in preparation, you need to consider timing. So these are the red flags for yourself. If the timing is wrong, it means there's a warning sign for you. You don't need to start it. You don't even need to talk about it or think about it. So the timing must be right. You are schooling, right? You may be a teenager. Your parents are taking care of you, paying fees for you, and then you are thinking or planning into entering a relationship that will lead into marriage. What do you think? Is that not a red flag enough for you? You are laughing. So once your lecturers will need, or you yourself will need the full complements of your intellect, your mind to study, you have devoted half of your mind in some kind of relationship which is not helping you in your studies. You ask those who are married, most of us who are married never married our first dates. Most of us, you can count. About 90% of those who are married never married their first dates. And so sometimes there is a tendency for us to think that if I don't catch one quickly, I may not get the best for myself in future. So the timing is crucial here. And that determines your readiness to enter into the relationship. And then you also will have to consider your resources. Resources. The one who led me here, who supported me with my bag, I heard him saying that, where is money to marry? You don't need money to marry. What you need to marry is a job. You don't need money. Because if it is about money, how much will you need to enter into a marriage relationship? So it's not about money, it is about a job, securing a job, especially the men. Especially if you're a Christian man, then the first responsibility for you is how to take care of a woman. And so you will need a job. The women can do without it because sometimes they will even need to go home and take care of the children. And when they are pregnant and lactating, they will need some time. I called a sister. Yes, last 3 days I visited a congregation, and here is a sister who hitherto was a very regular member of the church, now married, and when I asked or inquired about her, the husband said she couldn't come because she's taking care of the child at home. It was like, this sister is not known by this. So I called her. And she said that, well, I even want to quit my job so that I can devote more time for the children because I'm losing something at home. So with the men, you need a job. And if you don't have a job, don't enter into a relationship that will lead into marriage. So this is your red flag. If you are talking about red flags, this is your red flag. There is a warning for you. You don't need to enter into that relationship. And then you should also check your risk tolerance level. Your risk tolerance level. How much can you absorb or withstand certain character flaws of other people? So what you might term as red flags from another person may not be a red flag to some of you because of your risk tolerance level. So this is your red flag. Now let's look at, or let us consider the prosperous red flags. I mean, your partner to be, your prospective partner. The following are false red flags. Sometimes we include them in red flags, but they are false, and I call them pseudo red flags. Differences in one, gender. We are different. And so we are not going to think the same, act the same, reason similarly. We are different. Men think, act differently from women. And sometimes we, the men, don't understand, and the women also don't appreciate where we are coming from. These are natural differences. These are natural differences. So gender differences are just normal, and they are not red flags. I always want to use this example when I meet couples and then people like what I have this morning, that look at the hair of the women and look at that of the men closely. Some may think that women do things that don't make sense. And the women will also think men do things that don't make sense. Now, as we sit, just look the opposite gender sitting beside you. Look at the haircut. The men spend money, cut off their hair. And the women spend money to add more hair. Which one makes sense? Which one? Cutting the hair makes more sense to you than the one who add more hair. So we all make sense in our own rights. Theirs makes sense, and Madame is sitting down there with a load of hair on her hair. It makes sense to her. Ours too makes sense to us. So that's the gender difference. There are a lot to talk about gender differences. If you enter into a relationship, you may be experiencing or going through some of these things. They are just normal. They are not red flags. Then temperament and emotions, we are also different. I may step on your toe. You may not feel the pain. But if you dare step on my toe, I may feel the pain and complain. So emotions are also different. And they are not red flags. Ethnicities, coming from different tribes, are also false red flags. They are not. Who chose his or her tribe here this morning? I want to know who chose his or her tribe. So whose fault it is to belong to a certain tribe or a race? Whose fault it is to belong to a certain tribe or race? So definitely that is also not a red flag. Now, there is also this thing, there is no compatibility issue. I think you've heard it several times about compatibility. I don't know what that means. Maybe some of you have to tell me. But if you look at how God created male, female, there's nothing like compatibility. All that God expected from us is that though we are not perfect, we are distinct, yet God expects that we have our perfect matches and live with them in a harmonious relationship. So when people talk about compatibility, I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe there will be one or two, and I can explain that. Male marrying male you are not compatible. That one, I agree. If a male should present another male to me, counselor, I want to marry, can you prepare us for the marriage? I won't even start the counseling. So female marrying a female is not compatible. And in marriage relationship, if you bring someone's wife or husband to me also, that also is incompatible. But once you are single and she is single, once you are single and he is single, you are compatible. You may fit, but if you don't fit well, it means there is something wrong with the part that needs to be fixed. And we can do that. Teachers, parents, counselors can help you fix what the problem is. So there's nothing like compatibility according to the scriptures. We are all compatible. God created every woman to fit every man, and every man to fit every woman, because we are patented by God. And whenever you have an equipment, and the part is patented by the manufacturer, it means it fits. But there can be unwise decisions or unwise purchases. Let me put it that way. And that's what we are here to deal with. Unwise choices and unwise decisions. Sometimes you see the thing, it is there, it is presented to you black and white that this thing won't work. And yet, because what you call, if I don't marry him or her, I will die. And so you are compelled to marry or stay in the relationship and marry, and sooner or later, you begin to die slowly. So these are the actual red flags against the future. You see, red flags are on the way to your destination. Normally, they are on the way to your destination. They are not in there, but they are on the way to your destination. So as you move along towards your destination, the warning signs will be there for you. One is character flaws. When someone is flawed character-wise, it becomes difficult for that person to be fixed. And that person will need a special grace and the word of God to change that person. You cannot marry that person to change him or her. That is none of your business. You can't. So don't try it. Oh, well, when you marry, I'll try and help him or her to change. No. That person will never change. And then values in life. If you don't share similar values, don't try. Because you're going to live with someone for the rest of your lives. Maybe the oldest student here will be about 40. Let's take it 40 years. The oldest student here will be 40 years. It means that you've been single or a bachelor or spinster for how many years? If you are 40. How many years? 22 years. Yes, 22 years, because you need to attain the age 18 to be considered as a single person or a bachelor or spinster. So if you are 40, it means you've been single for 22 years. And the Bible says God has allotted or allocated 70 years to all of us. So granted, we are all going to live for 70 years. And you marry at age 40. How long will you be married? 30 more years. So you'll be married much longer than you live as a single person. And that's why these red flags are important. You need to listen and take closer look, read them, appreciate them, and use those red flags to take your decisions. Your decisions must be based on these red flags. So values are important. For instance, you meet a gentleman here, and all that you hear from him, well, I'm not serious about the courses here because my uncle in the U.S. has promised that as soon as I finish, he will come for me. So he doesn't take lectures seriously, the studies, lessons, everything, seriously. Then you know that this is a real danger. This is a red flag. Or someone can, how I wish we could have children without marrying. That should tell you that so this red flag, another red flag. And then the other one is honesty. If the person is not transparent enough and is not honest, having a lot of secrets surrounding him or herself, you don't know any of family friends, his own family members, his own friends, the job, what he does or she does for a living, and then the significant people in his or her life. If you don't know this about the person, then you need to be careful. You need to be careful. I I gave a lecture somewhere and I said that even if you're a woman and you know that you have issues with your womb and you cannot bear children, it's better you tell the man who comes to propose to you. After the lecture, a gentleman came out and said, as if you knew what I wanted. I have 2 children already. I lost my wife. And I don't intend having any more children. So I wish I could get someone who will be honest enough to tell me that I can no more bear children. So honesty pays. Why are you laughing? It pays. If you are sick, tell him or her. If your illness, the disease is contagious, let him or her know. This lady came to me weeping. Why? Because the man had decided to call it quits. What is the reason? People in the church have told him that she had not been on good terms with their dad, the father. And sometimes they stand toe to toe, blow for blow. That is with the father. So I asked her, is it true that you have issues with your dad? She said yes. Okay, what are the reasons? She told me the reasons. And so I told her, go to the gentleman, tell him that what he heard is true. But give the reasons and see if he can help you. President knows him, so knows the lady and the man, the gentleman. So I cannot mention the name because I don't have the permission to do so. They are married with 3 children, 3 beautiful girls. And I think 2 of the girls are in the university now. So you see, sometimes, not sometimes, always, you need to tell the truth about yourself. I asked her, tell him that what he heard is true, but these are the reasons. And they are married. So be honest. And if you meet someone who is not honest, please advise yourself. Advise yourself. It's a very huge, not only a flag, a billboard, red billboard. Like that comes from the maybe Guinness or Coke billboard. Huge one. Now, don't try. You see, don't let the outward appearance of people deceive you. Marriage, let me explain marriage to you. Marriage is like you finding a fruit, and the outward appearance is nice, good to taste somehow, the outward appearance. And so you purchase this fruit, you open it up, and you realize that nothing good is in there. What happens? You throw it away. You dispose of it. So this is marriage for you. Don't be deceived by the outward appearance. A gentleman dresses well, nice, cups, so you see him and you are dying. Don't worry, you will die. As for the death, you say it will happen to you. Some of the following seem to be minor red flags, but if you want to quit the relationship, look at some of these things closely. You are in a relationship, the guy has promised to marry you, or the lady has accepted to marry you. You call him in the morning. I'm talking about communication now. No response. Once. And those of you who don't know telephone manners, you don't need to, these days you don't call someone more than once. You don't need to do that. Once is enough. Gone were the days when we had this landline. That's why when you miss a call, you wouldn't know. But these days, when you miss 1,000 calls, you get to know all the missed calls. So there's no point calling more than, let me give you the benefit of the doubt, calling more than twice. So you call this guy or this lady in the morning, no response. You wait. Maybe give him an hour or more, call again. If there is no response, then you need to send a text or WhatsApp, just a message. Hi, checking up on you. I hope all is well. That's it. If you don't get a response in the evening, try checking friends you might know, close friends. Find out from the friends whether everything is okay. When you are assured that everything is okay, don't call again. Not even 48 hours or 72 hours. Because I can't believe and think of someone who has proposed love to you, waking up in the morning without thinking about you. In the afternoon, he eats, baths, dress up, go to lectures or go to work, and he will not think about you. He comes back in the evening, eats, bath, go to bed, wake up the following morning, and he still will not think about you. Once you are able to confirm that everything is okay, don't call again. That's enough for you. A lady came to me with similar situation. So I asked her not to call more than once. It was difficult for her initially. She went hit. She did it. 2 hours later, she called. There was no response. She sent a chat, no response. In the evening, she checked from a close friend and said, oh, he is okay. And then that was it. Third day, the guy called. Can we meet on Friday? It's okay. Then they met. And the guy said, I'm sorry. I think this relationship won't work. That is the red flag. So why should you waste your credit and time and your energy and all your emotions calling someone, calling and sending text messages? For what? Why? For what? What did he say? He said what? Love. Look, you people don't know what it means to be in love. Don't talk about love. Ask your president, ask your those who are married. And then if I should share some experiences with you, you know what it means to be. Okay, let me share one with you. Saturday I was traveling to Akosombo to speak at a wedding. 1 a.m. my wife woke me up. Dad, I don't feel fine. I said, okay, what is wrong? I think I'm not well. It's been about 2 years since I last went to the lab. Then the thing, click. I said, 2 years? I pull my 1:30 a.m. So I pull my phone, check. When we went for the lab test, I sent the results to the doctor. And when I checked, it was last year, July. So you do the calculations. 7, 8 months. And so I say, Mama, it is not 2 years, it's 8 months. Well, look, I'm suffering. I'm talking about what is happening to me. And you are doing calculations about time and facts. So I quickly checked myself. This is what love does. I check myself and say, oh, okay, don't worry. So now I'm traveling, so how are we going to the lab? The children will take me. I say, okay. So I came back and say, well, after I finished and dressed up, I was going. I said, Mama, I'm going home. So, well, if the children were not able to take you, then Sunday we can pass there. Or Monday, oh, okay, Monday is holiday. So Monday we can go together. Asah. This is love. The love that is commanded in scriptures is what is the one you make effort, you work at it to make your partner comfortable. It's not the hairstyle and the shape and whatever is running through your veins and you cannot stand, that is not love. It's something else. It's something else. So please, don't tell me, don't give me lectures on love here. Don't give me lectures. You as your president. So please, that is it. When the communication is not effective, I'm not going to tell you that there are others who never initiate communication. That's not what I'm talking about. Some temperaments will never initiate on anything. But when you initiate, when you call, he or she will respond. When you send a message, he or she will respond. So I'm not saying that if you send a chat or a message and don't get, or the person will never send. Look, there are some people who will never start a conversation. That's a kind of temperament. If you have a temperament like the supine, okay. Hey, Alain's question time. Wow. I'm behind time. So, okay, let me. Okay, I've dealt with transparency. That comes with honesty. So, support and responses to your needs. If the person doesn't care about your needs, I'm not talking about he buying you iPhone. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, but little things that matters in the relationship. And so those are, and then how are you able to resolve conflicts? That is also another red flag. If you are not able to resolve any conflict, then advise yourself. You have to check this only when the timing is appropriate. If you are not ready to marry, there's no need, there's no point checking all these things. It's because you are not going to enter into a relationship. And you can always seek counseling from people. So let me see. Okay, I put here breaking up, but I'll skip and then just conclude. My conclusion is simple. A broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. So don't feel bad when a relationship is going sour. No, don't feel bad at it. If you need to quit, quit. It's better than a broken marriage. In fact, broken marriage is not even easy to be broken. You can't have it easy. Whether be it customary or ordinance, none of them is easy. And recently I read from the laws, even the customary one is more difficult to be broken than the ordinance. So please, keep this in mind. A broken relationship is always better than a broken marriage. And there's nothing like, this is my soulmate in the scriptures. There's nothing like, it's a myth. It's a myth, please. Every woman, as I've already told you, every woman fits every man fits every woman because you have been patented. And watch this, love is not blind. Because the Bible says, love rejoices not in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. So if you know the relationship is not making any headway, is not benefiting you, quit. After all, love rejoices with the truth. That is found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 6. Thank you for listening to me. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much. Mine has to do with what, with all respect, you dismissed as not real, ethnic red flags. But there are some ethnic issues that we need to look at. For example, when we relate it to temperance, it is easier for a partner, a Kwapim female partner, to insult a male partner and will just be dismissed. But you can't tell an Asante man, No. Our brothers from the northern Ghana at age 14 are considered adults. So household chores, they don't take it, they don't do it. So if you don't get to know others and you marry a northerner or an Asante man and the slightest, where Jimmy, where you Bema, you're a fool, are you a man? It's a dangerous thing. So if you are dating and it comes up, it's going to be a problem. Similarly with the household chores, my partner does not help me to wash, to do this and that. Their orientation up there is that when you are 14, you are a matured man. And if we look at it, we will realize that that is why most of them are good footballers than those of us in the South. Because when I was in Form 2, I didn't go to the field, because if I went to the field, came back, my fufu would be the raw banchin and plantain. For them, it is not there. So I will suggest that you look at that also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. That's the essence of counseling. Sometimes when you tell people to come for counseling, premarital counseling, they think that it's of no use. We take people through this. We take your data and we find out a lot from the data you present to us, where you are coming from, even your home, whether you had a broken home, your parents' home was broken or not. And so we take all these things into consideration. And when you marry from a completely different tribe, what I mean by different tribe, I mean where the culture differs. The gap is very wide. We help you fix that. We alert you. We take you through the things you're going to experience in such a relationship and help you to be able to live with it. For instance, if I should, an Akuapem person like me, should marry a Fanti woman, my village there, my mother would just take the contombre and mash it, pour few palm rod oil on it, and ready to go. So even if you have a bottle of palm oil, it could be there for 3 months. I marry a Fanti. They will fry everything, including sugar cane. So if I'm marrying a Fanti, the counselor should tell me that when you buy a gallon of oil, cooking oil, and it's exhausted within 3 days, go and buy a drum. If you are ready to buy that drum, that's okay. You go ahead and marry. So I agree with you, Prof. And that's the essence of counseling. We take you through all these things. That's why I put it under pseudo red flag.
Okay, sir. Might have to do with maybe the period of dating. Since I came to level 100, I have no certain individuals who has been in a relationship for like 3 years. And I asked myself, so when exactly are they going to get married? Because
they have no idea.
They've been dating for like close to 4 years, going to 5 years. And at what stage should you consider that, okay, let's get married? Because 4 years is enough to make a decision. Thank you.
This is what... This is exactly what I mean by the timing. It's wrong. You ask them, they don't even know when they are going to marry. And so the relationship is purposeless. Now, let me ask you this thing. How many of you will spot or find a very beautiful building and go to the landlord and tell the landlord, you know what, I like your building. When I complete school and get a job, I'll come and rent it. So don't give it to anybody. Just keep the keys. In 5-10 years' time, I'll come. But from time to time, I'll come take the keys and enjoy it small, a little. Who does that? Who does that? We don't do it. And why will we want to do this thing in a relationship? When you do this, you are behaving like the one who has spotted the building and gone to tell the landlord that give me the keys from time to time, I'll come and enjoy it, live in it. So if you are not ready, don't go near it. I've told you, you can have purposes for dating. If it is for studies purposes, fine. You're having some issues with a subject and you've seen that Kwesi is very good and so you want to date him just to take you through it. That's great. That would be great. Why are you laughing? You think you cannot do this? You think you cannot do this without the other one? You can do it. You can do it. And that's, you see, let me tell you one thing about dating. When you are going to start dating, set the ground rules before you start. Set the ground rules. This is what I want. I asked one of my daughters, have you asked the man what he wants from you? And my daughter, oh, that is too early. I said, what is too early? Ask him. What does he want? So women, please ask them. When they come, ask them. Don't let them deceive you. I'm a man who will deceive you. We, including myself. Don't allow them to deceive you. As soon as I come, this and that, and then you ask, okay, so exactly what do you want? What's the purpose? Ask him. If he fumbles, just kick him out. All right.
Social media also has some kind of influence in our dating experience. And so it alters our expectations as students, dating each other. So what would you advise for us to focus on as expectation in our dating? Because social media actually changes the way we should look at relationship as females and as males. Yeah, thank you.
My answer would be the answer the vice president told someone in court, that social media will kill you. Don't depend on social media for your lives. If you depend on social media for your lives, it will be like someone depending on dreams to live his or her life. There are a whole lot of garbage out there. So if you don't have the ability to refine what you read on social media and bring out the best out of it, it's better you stay close to your books. But if you have the ability, it's fine, go ahead. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of garbage, social media garbage on my systems. But it's because I need them to teach. But I don't need them I don't need to experience them or live with them. So yes, we should also understand the terrain of social media. We need to be very, very careful. They are all there because people put them there. And you don't know the artists, whether they have good intentions or bad intentions, whether they are trained counselors or not. These days, a lot of people call themselves counselors. Some are not trained, so the trained ones, we are governed by what we call ethics of the profession. So we cannot put out just anything. But the quacks, they can put out anything out there. I heard someone saying that if you meet a man with a single room, then to marry that person. Then some of us will never get married. Because that's where some of us started, you see. So please be careful. If you don't have the ability to refine what you read, see, view on social media, so that you can bring the best out of your life, reduce it, minimize your visits there. That's my advice. Unless someone will help me, maybe the president will have something to say. Conrad, do any of you have anything to say? All right.
Thank you. My question is, pretenders. Pretenders. There are other people, they will pretend to love or to say that I love this man or I love this woman just because he or she want to get married. And then, after they're married, then the real character will then pop up. What can we do then, especially in our churches? Now, the man or the woman will be suffering because one partner has pretended that I love you. All the things that he or she need, he will provide during the relationship and the dating all. And after the marriage, then the real character will then pop up.
Okay. I did mention honesty and transparency, knowing the background of the person, family members, close friends, significant people in his or her life. There's one thing I didn't say, but let me add that one. Please, 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 before you approach a man or a woman for a relationship, date him or her from afar for some time. Do you get that one? Date him from distance. If I've seen Lady A and I'm interested in her, I should not go near her physically. I can date her from distance, doing all the due diligence about him or her. If a man comes to you proposing, date him from a distance. Tell him to give you space. Maybe I'm not ready now. Check me out next 3 months. And start your due diligence on that person. And you find out. Don't be quick to accept proposals. Thank you.